everyone, I'm Tessa from Studio Jane, and I'm teaming up with KidMadeModern to bring you a fun patriotic craft for Memorial Day. We're going to be using red, white, and blue elements from our KidMadeModern Arts and Crafts library and recycling toilet paper tubes to make your own little firecrackers.
For today's craft, we're going to be using felt, pom-poms, fuzzy sticks, and wooden craft sticks, all from our KidMadeModern Arts and Crafts library. In addition, we'll be using recycled toilet paper tubes, cardboard, and paint and a paintbrush. Some additional tools we'll be using are a hot glue gun and scissors.
To get started on our firecrackers, we are going to take our toilet paper tubes and we're going to trace a circle out of cardboard. I'm just going to take a black marker here and then just pressing my toilet paper roll into my cardboard scrap, I'm just going to trace the base of my tube. And we're going to want 2 circles per toilet paper tube, so per firecracker that you're making today. And this is going to be for the top and bottom of our firecrackers. And they don't have to be perfect circles. Our toilet paper tubes typically are not either, so we can always bend them a little bit as we glue these on, so you don't have to worry too much about that. So after you traced out your circles, we're going to go ahead and cut those out. So once we have our circles, we can see that those will fit. So just going to cut out as many circles as you are for however many firecrackers you're going to be making today. Once all your circles are cut out, we are going to go ahead and cut holes into our circles before we attach them. It just makes it a little bit easier to do this step first. So we are going to be putting 3 little sparklers coming out of the top, as well as a hole in the bottom for our wooden craft stick to fit at the bottom, so we can either hold them or use these as decoration. So for one circle, I'm going to take my scissors, and this might be a step that you need a little bit of help from an adult with, and I'm just going to pop a little hole and push one end of my scissor through my cardboard. I'm just going to create a small hole, and we'll do that in 3 different spots. And this is just going to create enough space that we can put our fuzzy sticks through, and it'll hold them nice and secure. So we've got 3 holes in our top, and then on the bottom, I'm just going to pop my scissors right in the middle to make 1 hole. And it's easy to twist your scissors a little bit to make a big enough hole. And you can always test your item as well if you want to make sure. Usually if you have the hole started, you can kind of wedge whatever it is in. If it's not fitting, just take your scissors and push it back into the hole, and you're just going to make your little slit or hole a little bit bigger. And now our craft stick will fit right inside. We're still going to glue these in as well, but this just makes it an easy way to have it be nice and secure. So once all of our holes are cut, we're going to go ahead and start attaching these to either end of our toilet paper tube. So the easiest thing to do is to take your hot glue gun and just put a little bit on the inside edge of your tube. And we are going to squish these circles right into the tube. So if your circles are a little bit large, you can trim them down at this point to make sure that they fit right in. I'm just going to push this in. Should be a nice snug fit, and then I'm just going to hold it tightly on the edges to make sure that my glue dries. And I'm just going to push one little corner up a little bit to make sure that that is nice and flush. And I just used a wooden craft stick to kind of push from the other end to make sure that that is flush all the way around. So that's going to be the bottom of our little firecracker. I'm going to flip this over and then do the same thing on this side. So now we have our top circle in and our bottom circle in, and we've closed off both ends of our little firecracker. And from here, we're going to start decorating the exterior. So you have options to either paint your tube, cover it in felt or paper. So we're gonna do a couple different ways to give you some inspiration today. For one of our firecrackers, we are going to simply take some of our pepper paint here and paint the whole thing, including the top and bottom red. And you can use any paint colors that you want. Since we are making these fun firecrackers in honor of Memorial Day, we went with a red, white, and blue theme. But you can make them any color you want for your own decor or to coordinate with whatever party you might be throwing to celebrate. Once your entire tube is painted, you can set this aside to dry, and we'll add some further decorations as soon as it's ready. Once this firecracker is dry, we're going to take some of our fuzzy sticks and decorate it a little bit. So you can take any colors that you want. We're going to take a couple of our blue striped and solid red, and I'm going to take my hot glue and just make a little strip of glue all the way around the top. Go ahead and wrap your fuzzy stick along that glue line. And then where it overlaps, I'm just going to trim my fuzzy stick. We're going to do that to the other edge as well. So now we've got a fun little striped on both ends. And we're going to just take another little red fuzzy stick and go right underneath both sides. So now that we have two stripes of fuzzy sticks, we're going to finish with one more solid blue fuzzy stick on both ends as well. Lastly, we're just going to take some of our fun little pom-poms here and glue a few on. So we've got some fun decoration all over this painted firecracker, and it's going to be ready to add in our sparklers in just a moment.
For this firecracker, we're going to use our red pepper paint again and paint both ends, and then we'll use felt to cover the center.
And to do that, we're actually going to do a fun striped pattern using all of our different colors. So I'm going to take a piece of red, a piece of light blue, dark blue, and white. And using all of these, we're going to cut them into smaller pieces. And I'm going to layer them all together and then cut them at once so that they all have the same width. And felt is really thin, so it should be really simple to cut all at the same time. So now I have all of these strips that are going to be the same sizes and easy to glue together. So now that our strips are cut, we are going to go ahead and glue them on vertically. So these are going to be plenty long to cover the entire side, and then we're going to glue them one after the next, going all the way around to create a fun red, white, and blue striped pattern. So to do this, I'm going to put a little bit of glue at the top, and then take my first strip and line up my edge. I'm going to flip over this strip here, and then just put a couple of glue lines toward the edges of where my felt will lay. I'm going to go ahead and trim these as I go to make sure that I can easily cut them away. And then we're going to follow the same steps all the way around. And you can create any pattern you want. If you want to do multiple strips of white or blue, or just use 2 colors back and forth, all of those are going to look adorable. And as you go, you can make sure that your edges have enough glue by just flipping up the edges a teeny bit and adding a little bit more glue into any corner or edge. And now your firecracker is covered all the way around in fun red, white, and blue stripes, and it's ready for sparklers. For our next firecracker, we are going to cover it in felt. And to do so, I'm going to take some of our dark blue felt and cover the whole thing first. So since I'm using these strips, we're going to have to cover it in a few different segments to cover the whole thing. So to do that, we're going to just go ahead and take some of our hot glue and go around the top edge, almost all the way around. And then we're going to take our felt, line it up to the top here, and then we'll go all the way around to that glue string. And since we are using these strips, we're just going to basically patchwork it together. So once we've got this portion attached, I'm just going to take a little bit of glue along this edge here and then just press that firmly into your toilet paper tube. We'll do the same on the other side. And now we'll take another strip and we're going to do the same thing. So I'm just going to take a little bit of glue, and with my hot glue I'm going to go a little bit further away, not directly up against the other felt. That way anything that comes out when I push my felt against it, it won't show. And then I'm just going to push my felt directly against the other one, and basically we're going to make an invisible seam here. And now as we've covered almost our entire tube here, you can barely see that seam. And we're just going to glue down both edges again. All right, so we've got this little edge here that we need to go ahead and cover next. I'm going to take another strip, and you can either measure it first or glue it on and then cut it afterward, which is the method we're going to use today. So I'm going to take my glue again, right along the bottom edge here, and then pushing my felt up against the second layer. So our last step in covering this in blue felt is just going to be taking an extra strip, and we're just going to layer it right on top to cover up this last portion. So to do that, I'm going to just put the hot glue directly on my felt strip this time, starting at the top and then going down the sides. I'm not adding glue to the bottom because we are going to have to trim that off. It's a little bit long. So I'm going to take my strip here, holding it from the bottom that doesn't have glue, and then lining it up at the top, and then pressing down the sides. And now I'm going to take my scissors to trim off the rest just like we did before. And now we've got this entirely covered in felt, but we're not quite done with this yet. We're going to take some of our red felt next. I'm going to cut this into thin strips. Once I have a couple strips here, we're going to start in a diagonal pattern going around our little firecracker here. Take some hot glue and put a strip of glue all the way down the back of my red stripe. And we're going to start this a little bit higher than the top so we get a nice clean edge, and then just wrapping it around in a diagonal fashion. And then we are going to go ahead and add in a little extra at the end there, but we'll go back around at the end. Any little scraps that we might have left over, like this, that we're going to trim, might be perfect to fill in any gaps we have. So we'll trim and fix up any little bits at the end. So we're just going to go ahead and take a couple more strips and do the same diagonal method. Once all of your strips are glued down, we're going to go ahead and trim off any bits that are standing up. Now we have a fun diagonal pattern all the way around in felt. If you have any little tabs like this that are sticking up, you can always just take your hot glue gun and add a little bit of glue to clean up any of those edges. Lastly, for this diagonally striped firecracker, we are going to attach little circles in white on the top and bottom. And to do that, we're going to go ahead and trace another toilet paper roll onto a piece of white felt. So once you have your circle, I'm just going to fold my felt in half here. So I have two layers together, and then we can cut out the same size circle at one time. So now that we have two circles here, we are going to attach these to our toilet paper tube, but what you're going to want to do is make sure that it doesn't block the holes. So I'm going to lay this on top and then flip my white felt over and crease it right where I can see the hole. And then I'm going to mark a little line right where my hole is. And then I'm going to take my scissors. And since this one we want to be more of a little slit for our wooden craft stick to fit in, I'm going to fold my white circle of felt in half again, and then take my scissors and just barely cut a little strip right there. And then you can see we've got a little slit that will be able to fit right on top. For the other side, we're going to do the same steps, but just have to do them a couple of times since we have 3 holes. So I'm going to just lay my felt circle on top, flip this up to where I see my first hole, and mark a little hole or a little dot. And we'll do that for all 3 of our holes. So when you flip this over, we have 3 different dots. And what we're going to do, rather than cutting a little slit like we did for our bottom piece, we are going to take our scissors and trim right along the dot and then fold it the other direction and trim again. So this is just creating basically a little cut X on each dot. This isn't going to make a visible hole, but it will be a big enough separation in our fabric that we'll be able to push our fuzzy stick through into the hole of our little firecracker, and you won't have any hole showing. So now we have just enough of a little gap in our holes that then we would go ahead and glue these on to the top and bottom and end up with our firecracker just like this. Now that all of the bases of our firecrackers are complete, we are ready to create the actual little spun sparklers that will come out the top. And to do that, we're actually going to make some little stars first. So I'm going to take my felt and my pen, and I'm just going to freehand draw some stars. You can make them any style you want, and we're going to draw a star onto our felt, and then we're going to fold it in half to cut out the exact same star twice. So I have my star here. I'm going to fold my felt in half and then just cut directly along my lines, going through both layers of felt. Now we have 2 stars here that we're going to be able to glue together and sandwich in our fuzzy stick in the middle. So once your stars are ready to attach, we're going to take a little bit of our hot glue right in the center of our star, put one of our sparkly fuzzy sticks right on top of that, and then take another dollop of hot glue right on top, and I'm going to lay my other star on top of that. So now you have your star and your fuzzy stick all attached. We're going to go ahead and make a few of these. You can do all of these for each firecracker, or we're also going to add a couple with little sparkly pom-poms at the top as well. So to make our fuzzy pom-pom option, this is a really simple way. I'm just going to put a little bit of hot glue right on top of my fuzzy stick, and then taking my metallic pom-pom, I'm just pressing it straight into the glue. Now we have 2 fun little sparklers, and you can continue to make as many as you'd like. Since we made our little firecrackers with 3 holes in each, we're going to make a combination of stars and pom-poms to fill all 3 holes for all 3 of our firecrackers. Once you've made all of your fun and sparkly sparklers, we are going to start attaching them. So I have all 3 of our cute little firecrackers here, and we're going to take a little bit of glue on the edge of our fuzzy stick, and then I'm just going to press it right into our hole. So you don't need a whole lot of glue. It just is enough to hold it in place, and you can put this at different heights if you want. We'll also can bend them or make them fun little shapes. So as they dry, we'll be able to kind of play with them a little bit more. You can even take one, we'll wrap it around our finger to give it a little bit of a spiral, and then put that right into our hole again. Bend them to create a little zigzag. And we have got fun sparkly stars coming out. And for this one, did all 3 stars, but for these ones, we've got some of our fun little pom-pom elements as well. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I think for this, I'm gonna curl again. Just curling it around my finger and then just pulling it straight a little bit. Just gives it enough of a spiral. Then for here, you can still see where our little black dots are. I'm just going to push my fuzzy stick right where the dot is. It should line up to where our holes are. So now that we have all of our sparklers ready to go, you can definitely easily leave your firecrackers just like this. They'll easily sit atop a table or anywhere you might want to place them. But we are going to add in some of our little craft sticks at the bottom, and then these will be really fun to be able to carry around. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on my wooden craft stick and then just push it right into the slit at the bottom that we created. Now you can hold this if you're going to Memorial Day parade or any other fun patriotic events this summer. And an easy thing you can do is to combine 2 of your wooden craft sticks and make this a longer base, and then these can even all go in a vase and be a pretty centerpiece for a party. And I always love some fun decorations. So to do that, I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to one end of my wooden craft stick, glue 2 of them together, and then we'll do the same step. So now you've created a longer handle that will be adorable to sit in any sort of vase or vessel and be a perfect decoration. And there you have it. You can easily add additional sticks at the bottom as we did with this one to make them into great decorations and can sit in a vase, or you can do that later for additional holidays and use this one to hold and to play with. So these are some great red, white, and blue crafts just in time for Memorial Day. Now that we're done crafting our adorable firecrackers, they're ready to play with or to use as decoration. Thanks so much for joining me and KidMadeModern crafting today.
Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And for more fun inspiration and craft kits, check us out at KidMadeModern.com. Thanks, and I can't wait to see you all again for the next video.